Hi everyone. Today, this video is about how we ultimately project onto children and how to stop doing that. If you are a parent, a mother, a father, someone who has children in their life, then this video is for you. Children are actually sacred mirrors for us to heal from past hurts, to heal from the unconscious parts of us that are wanting to be seen. And if we do not take the responsibility to do that, we ultimately project onto our children and the children around us and create more suffering for future generations. I've been called to create this video as a teacher, a spiritual life coach, and an energy healer. I have been working with children for more than a decade now. And before I became a spiritual life coach and energy healer, I am also a teacher. And I teach elementary school students all the way from TK up to sixth grade. I've taught it all. And now that I'm a parent, I've seen this firsthand how children are projected onto, unfortunately. And if, as adults, if we are not conscious of the fact that we are doing that, then we cause more harm than good. And so this has really become even more evident to me when I became a mother 5 years ago. My daughter was born extremely premature at 23 weeks, and she is a walking miracle to this day, full of health and vitality after navigating 5 months in the NICU. And still, I have my moments of rage, right? Where I am just so angry, and the remembrance of what we've been through and the miracle of the fact that we are here today escapes my mind, and I'm just angry, hurt, and lashing out. And as a mom, that's the last thing we want to do to our children. And so after an episode of that, we might feel guilty, ashamed, misunderstood, helpless, hopeless. And this is the opportunity where I really see my expertise and experience as a teacher, a life coach, an energy healer all come together to create harmony, to create transformation, not just for you, but for your children and for your family and for the community. Because we all know individuals that create families, families become the building blocks of community, of the world, of change, of transformation. And so, if we can take the responsibility for ourselves to do our part within ourselves, within our family, within the relationship that we have with our loved ones, it truly creates this ripple effect of change in the world. And so, the first thing I want to address is rage. Because this, I think, is something mothers struggle with so much. And I've had clients come in who are moms who are really struggling with connecting with their child or unknowingly projecting onto their child their past hurts and traumas and struggles. And so, when I tell my clients, whenever an opportunity comes up, and I call them opportunities because they don't feel like opportunities in the moment because you're angry AF and you just want to scream and shout, but they are really opportunities for you to deepen into your truth and heal aspects of yourself that want to be integrated into the whole aspect of you again, so that you can feel that love and acceptance and joy and understanding. The fact that there's this rage coming out means there's a part of you that has been dismissed, unseen, hurt, um, and cast away. And so it's this rage is screaming for your attention, screaming to be seen. And so, for example, your child might be just doing typical child things, right? Whining, putting toys everywhere, um, asking a million questions. And this might trigger within us rage. For example, um, a child that is whining because they didn't get their toy that they wanted at the store. And it continues on and on and on until you get home. And then all of a sudden you're in this rage and you're telling your child, "Oh, you're so ungrateful and why can't you just be quiet? And I've already told you no." And all these things are coming out, right? This is an opportunity for you to take a breath, slow down, and regulate yourself first because you cannot have the awareness or the understanding if you are dysregulated in your body, if you're feeling it viscerally, you're the anger in your body. And so the first thing is to move the anger through by centering yourself in this present moment, bringing your energy down below your shoulders into your body, breathing deeply, and tuning into where in your body you feel the anger. And just breathe it out. And you might have to excuse yourself from your family and say, "I need to take a break," or, do whatever you need to do. For me, I just tell my daughter and my husband, "No, I need to take a break." I go upstairs to my room and they know that I'm there doing what I need to do to center myself. So take a deep breath, center in, and then pay attention in your body, oh, excuse me, to where you feel the tension, the anger. And so for me, it might be in my chest. And then I tune into my chest, feel how it feels, the tension there, the anger, the whatever it is that you feel. And then ask that part of your body, "How do you feel?" I might say angry, livid, mortified, disgusted, whatever it is. Okay, honor that, accept that. Excuse me. And then ask that part of yourself, um, what do you need to feel whole again? And you can even ask that part of yourself, how old do you think I am? And the age that comes up can reveal a lot to you about what might have been happening in your life at that time that's eliciting these feelings again. So for me, example, I might say, "How old do you think I am?" And then it tells me 5. And I remember in my life, oh, at 5, I was punished um, for asking for what I need, or my parents, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And so it helps build this understanding of where this anger is coming from. And then the last question, what do you need to feel whole again? Is going to reveal a lot to you. It's this part of you that remembers this past experience, or maybe multiple experiences where you felt shut down, unseen, unheard, unloved, unaccepted. And so when you ask that part of yourself, what do you need to feel whole again? It's going to tell you exactly what it needs to feel whole again. Because what we don't realize is the anger that we're projecting onto someone else, we might make it all about the other person, including our children. It's their fault. It's because they're ungrateful. It's because they're whining. It's because they're annoying. It's because they're this. But really, the anger is coming from within. And so when we can listen and tune into our body and understand what our body needs to feel whole again, we can give our body that. So, for example, if I ask my body, what do you need to feel whole again? It might say something like, in the past, it said things, it has said things like, um, I want to feel accepted for who I am. So then I accept myself for who I am. I love myself, right? Or it might say something like, um, what do you need to feel whole again? depending on what it says, you'll just know, okay, I need to do that. And it might involve communicating this with your family. So whenever I do this, after I'm done, I always go back to my family. I tell them how I feel. I tell them, you know, I felt this because of this, and always take the accountability for where you how you acted, because when you go back to your family and you model this to your children, they understand that, oh, it's not my responsibility to regulate someone else's emotions, right? I regulate my emotions. My family helps me sometimes, but ultimately it's my responsibility. And so this helps your children learn that not to be emotionally manipulated by other people in the world too when they go out into the world. Because my husband and I always take accountability. We always say, I felt this when you did this, and I know this and this and this, right? So, um, and then usually it comes back to this point where we can, excuse me, where we can reconnect. And we've taught our daughter to do this too, where she knows she can take a break. We give her the space to regulate. We come back to her and um, ask her, "How do you feel?" Right? And she's able to voice what she needs or how she feels or what she's discovered, and we welcome it and we accept it and we move through it together as a family. This is entirely different from screaming at your child, saying it's blaming them and making you the victim. When in reality, we are the parents, we are the adults. Our children should not be responsible for bearing and regulating our emotions. But the problem is, we've never been taught how to respond. I know for me, growing up in a household where emotions were not spoken about, were not expressed, how you feel didn't matter. It was shut up and be quiet, right? And don't come back again until you're perfect. And so that aspect of myself, and for a lot of us, has never been truly accepted and seen, which again leads to more of these problems when we become parents. So it's our responsibility then to, yes, grieve the past and the process of not receiving that support in the way that we needed or wanted. I know a lot of a lot of my parenting time the past 5 years has been reliving parts of my past where I wasn't loved and accepted and grieving those aspects of my life that weren't what I deserved or weren't what I thought they should be as a parent and child interaction, and accepting that and being at peace with that and recognizing that I am fully whole and loved and accepted for who I am today and always, regardless of my experiences and what happened to me. And so I can live from this whole place now and model this to my child and to the children in my life so that they understand that when I have a huge blow up or if when I'm angry or emotional or things like that, it's not this scary thing for them because or an uncontrollable chaotic thing. It's something that we model to our children is natural, is expected, is accepted, is and remind them that just because they're having big feelings or big emotions that they're moving through doesn't mean that we don't love them, because I think through my own journey of healing and working with many children and my own child now too, there's aspects of us that feel unloved when our caretakers or our parents or the people in our lives are upset, even if it has nothing to do with us. And even if they try not to make it about us, children are see the lens through themselves. And so they will blame themselves. They will say, if was it my fault? They will say, what's wrong with me? If it's not spoken about and moved through and put through the lens of, I love and accept you no matter what. And so I think the next thing that I would tell people is to make sure you tell your child that you love them, right? Show them through your actions, your words, and tell them that, because they might not have the voice to express that they're worried about not feeling loved anymore because mommy or daddy was upset. And we tell our daughter we love her all the time. Um, just because anytime, it could be any time of the day, it could be randomly. And it just so happened to come up when, we were moving through a big feeling or anger or some situation that happened. And I told her, I love you. And she said, even when you're mad? Like, she was so confused. And I said, of course, even when you're mad, I love you no matter what. And I think as adults, sometimes we think, of course, our kids know that, but do they? A lot of times they need explicit ways of telling them, like, do this, and they need instruction and explicit direction about what it is that you're telling them. And if we try to say, oh, they should know that already, not necessarily. Again, that's our way of projecting what we think they should know instead of taking accountability and responsibility for, hey, I probably didn't explain that very well, you know? So making sure your child knows that they're loved and seen regardless of circumstance, because the thing that's going to help your child, and I see that helps children the most, is stability, is true connection, is unconditional love and acceptance for who they are, even when they make mistakes. And if we're constantly putting our parenting through a lens of, well, my parents never did that for me and I turn out just fine, and that if we do it from that place, we are prolonging and perpetuating the hurts that we have experienced and handing them over to our child. And so we have an opportunity then to allow it to stop with us, allow ourselves to be more conscious of the fact of why we do the things we do, and give ourselves the space and the understanding to move differently. And so, powering ourselves with these tools and the awareness of, yes, I'm not perfect. Yes, my child is also not perfect. How can we navigate life's life circumstances and situations so that we always come through connected again and connected throughout? Because ultimately that's what we want. Humans want connection, they want love, they want acceptance. But if we're going through rage and troubles and problems and issues in our families and in our lives and never truly reconnecting, then you will lose your child eventually. Your child will not feel connected to you, will find that connection somewhere else. And so if you truly love your child, which I don't doubt you do if you're a parent, if you truly love your child, the best thing you can do for them is accept and love them fully for who they are and help them recognize that. That doesn't mean spoil them rotten and give them whatever they want. You still hold them accountable, and you do it through a lens of love, and you do it through a lens of taking ownership over your part of the issue. Because even as teachers and parents alike, we cannot just say because I said so. That's not that is not a good reason. Children know it's not a good reason. And in fact, children are so aware and attuned to what's going on. They will call you out on your BS. They will notice when you are lacking integrity. They will notice if you said one thing and did something else. And a lot of the times, I've seen teachers do this too. Adults, we attack children, we project onto them, we tell them, you don't know that. Like, do as I say, not as I do, and all this stuff about, but really, children are truth seekers. Naturally, we are truth seekers and discerners. And so when we tell children things like that, like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, just do as I say, not as I do, it creates this distrust of self in children. And so they begin to question, do I even know what I'm talking about? But my mom said this, but she did that. And it creates so much confusion when we ourselves lack integrity. And so being a parent is a truly sacred assignment and mission to deepen into who you are and take accountability for the integrity in your life, for being who you say you are and acting in accordance with that. Because then ultimately you model that for your children and they model it for their children. And so this affects humanity, right? It ripples out into society. And so I think people who want change in the world overlook the simple fact that how you operate within yourself and with the people around you is your biggest level of influence, is a huge level of influence that we overlook sometimes. And sorry, the gardeners are outside, so I don't know if you can hear that. It's super noisy. But I'll just wrap up this video here. And I have a lot more to say on this topic. So let me know if you have any comments or questions down below, and maybe I can answer them in another video. But I think this is something that I want to talk about more because you see those headlines where it says stuff like we're failing our children, like our kids can't read and reading is at an all-time low and all these things, and mental health issues are on the rise. It's really um, sad to see. And so hopefully by sharing this message and sharing my knowledge and my expertise more on my YouTube channel, I can help alleviate some of that because our children did not come into this world to suffer. And we we do not have to subscribe to the issues of life if we understand how to navigate through them properly and with support. So I'm here to support you. If you need help with this, let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.